Hi everyone, my name is Phil and welcome to Phil Does 3D. I'm a multimedia and 3D artist and I stream on Twitch weekdays from 5 PM Pacific time in the United States, 10 AM in Australia and 1 AM in the UK. Hope all you guys are well. Happy 4th of July, Independence Day to you, my friends in the United States. I know it's a big deal for you guys over there, so enjoy those barbecues or whatever it is you're doing. You're probably all out doing that instead of watching Twitch. We are working on an Art Deco building in the Unreal Engine 4.16.2. We're going to be creating a cinematic, so a fly through of the environment and then into the Art Deco building and back out again. This is our Art Deco building in Max. Still got to actually create the ivy for the building as well at some stage, so we must do that. And this is our environment in Unreal. Again, I know my regulars are probably sick of seeing the environment, but just for the benefit of anyone that may be new watching, I'll jump through the bookmarks. So I'll go full screen here. And we will just very quickly jump through all these bookmarks. Now, I did actually create a video that I was going to play to do this, so I didn't have to keep jumping through them every time I start the stream, but I thought, oh well. We'll show you the live view as opposed to the to a video playing. This is the main entryway actually. So our camera's going to start here and fly down our entry until we get to our building. I won't jump through all the bookmarks, I'll just sort of hop through here and there. This is our environment here and our building up here in the corner. Now all of our trees are actually animated in the wind. They're not moving now simply because OBS really hates me turning real time on here in Unreal. But they do all move in the wind. They are all speed tree trees, so they're all fully wind animated and all that good stuff. And they will be animating when we create our cinematic of our camera fly through. So our camera will go come down our path there and then fly along, and we'll actually enter the building from this side just here. So we'll go through these doors here to enter the building. Let's jump out of full screen because we're actually probably finished doing our environment here. So we're working on the interior of the Art Deco building now. Let's move in there. Swing our camera around. And again, I've got to adjust the fog settings in my environment. I haven't turned on a new volumetric fog, which is a new feature in Unreal 4.16. They added like a volumetric fog effect that you can turn on. I haven't turned that on yet. We'll do that towards the end, just before we start making our cinematic animation. But the fog values I have set up at the moment are still a bit high, so I do have to turn them down a little bit. But let's continue with placing assets in our level here. For you guys that were watching yesterday, remember I was having a bit of a problem with this gate. Parts of the gate were looking too bright. So what I've done is I've knocked those back so they're a bit darker. But let's move on to doing something else now. We placed our doors yesterday, our deco doors here, did our wall panels, placed the second level banister railing up here. Oh, I'm getting lost, there we go. Again, we use, I am using Substance Painter to create a lot of these textures for these assets, so they are all physically based textures, materials, PBR materials. We haven't brought all the assets in yet that we need. There is a few still left in Max that we need to bring in. We will do that, but I want to finish placing the assets we have already worked on, and they're these ones in the background that are done. The ones in the foreground we still have to do. We still have to bring our main staircase in as well, and all the floor sections, and of course some rugs and some flying banners and stuff, but these are all going to be done in using cloth physics in Unreal, so I'll leave them until the end. Hey Sniper Echo, good to see you. What you been up to? Oh, we still have to do our chandelier as well. I want to just redesign this a little bit, not too much, but just make it a bit more interesting than this original mesh. We still have to do that too. That's probably the most complicated job of everything we've got left to bring in. It's always good to see you, buddy. Alright, so yeah, we've only got a few assets left, and like I said, I want to grow some ivy still on the outside of the building, but let's concentrate on fixing up what's left in our interior here. So we fixed our gate texture there that was looking a bit bright. We have placed our Deco doors and our wood paneling down at the base. Now this is where our stairwell will go when I bring it in. What will we pull in now? Do remember, guys, if you have any questions or anything you're not sure about, please feel free to pop into chat and ask me. If I can help, I'm happy to try. If you just want to pop in and say hello, that's always welcome. And if you just want to watch, that's completely fine. Okay, just getting back to when I created these assets and the reasoning, you remember I wanted to add a bit more detailing, which is why I added these wooden panels and the indentations here on this metalwork. And that was just, as you can see here, to give the asset a bit more depth and a bit more interest, and it'll help with the lighting when we place our lights as well. Just to make the asset look a bit prettier than having just a flat texture. So we actually place the like the wooden borders in on our assets and things, and like I said, that small indentation we're seeing on these metallic parts. Originally that was just a flat texture, and I added the depth just to make the asset look more interesting. And of course we have our railings here, which are highly polished and have some wear and tear on them, because, you know, it's a 1930s building, people have been living in it for a while or using it for a while, so it's seen a bit of wear and tear. Alright, I think we can't forget about the back of the building either, actually. We have to do the back here as well. Let's do that. Let's start moving some of our assets from the front here to the back so that we've got that back section complete before we move on to the upstairs here. So let's start with these window frames, columns, these wooden columns, I think. Again, we're going to duplicate it, and we duplicate it so we save on poly count, memory, and makes the engine run faster, which is always a good thing. Let's just do a rotation of 180 degrees before we take it back there. I'm going to make sure that my angle snapping is turned on, so it's easy for me to get a proper rotation going. And we'll move it back. Now the back of the building here is a little bit different from the front. It's not an exact replica of the front because we have this mezzanine balcony that overhangs the back section. So it's not going to look exactly like the front of the building, it's going to be slightly different. Again, I'm just going to pull my column in. I pull it forward just until it doesn't stops intersecting the side of the windowsill. But I do have to be careful we don't go through our wall to the outside of the building. You can see it a little bit just there. So again, I'm just going to move the column in until it doesn't intersect our outside wall. That should do. The other thing I noticed too was our glass here on our window pane is just a little bit off, so I'm going to, and this is a blueprint by the way, which is two separate assets that we created a blueprint for, just to make it easy for us to place the asset. Oh, and I want to turn angle snapping off here. Just going to rotate my glass pane so it's actually sitting properly in our window. There we go. Okay. I looked at that and I thought that it was intersecting the ceiling, but I forgot that's the mezzanine that overhangs our at the back of our building here. Hey Nano, good to see you. not sure where you are, Nano, if you're celebrating the 4th of July or not, but like I said, for all you guys in the US, happy 4th of July. And I do appreciate you guys popping in and saying hi in chat, because it's always good to know that you guys are out there and I'm not talking to myself. Let's rotate this 180 degrees. I'm just going to undo that because I have angle snapping turned off, because I did that for the window glass, but I want to turn it back on now. Now we can do a 180 degree rotation. Yes, 90 degree rotation. My apologies. And again, let's move this over so it just stops intersecting the side of our window there. There we go. While we're here, let's do the other window on the other side. Let's also fix that window glass again. So, and just for people that do use a blueprint and think, how do you, how do you actually, a multi-blueprint made up of multi-meshes, how do you move a separate mesh inside of that grouping? Because generally when you select a blueprint, it selects everything. You just double click it again and it will select whatever sub-object is in that blueprint. Again, let's turn angle snapping off though. And let's just move our glass inside of our window frame. Turn angle snap back on again and deselect it all. And let's duplicate our column yet again. Move it over so it just stops before it just starts intersecting our window there at the side. And you can see it still needs to come over a little bit because we still have a bit of the window sill showing through the wooden slats there. There we go. And make sure it's not sticking through our wall. No, I think that's okay. Let's duplicate it again. And do a 90 degree rotation. And I'm going to pull it in as well. Now I can see we've actually got one of our plants just sticking through the floor there. But that should be okay because we're going to be placing a wooden panel, a wall panel here which has a bit of thickness to it, so that should cover that up. If it doesn't, we'll go back in outside and move the plant. Just want to make sure that these two columns are out from the wall at the same depth. Make sure it's not going through my wall. Nope. Okay, I think we've got another window down the other end, but let's do the door frame first. So let's duplicate this one again. And again, this is Unreal 4.16. Epic Games made a Point released a hotfix update over the weekend to bring it to 4.16.2. So just as a heads up for you guys that are using Unreal and might not be aware that they did do a hotfix release. It's always good to download the hotfix releases because they just fix some problems, small problems that they've discovered in the engine since they did the original release. Okay, let's duplicate it again. Let's rotate it 90 degrees again. And remember, it's a free engine to download and use. Even if you make something commercially with it, Epic only take, I think, a 5% cut of sales after you make more than, I think it's $3,000 US. Don't quote me on that. I'd have to check, but last time I looked, I'm sure it was after 3,000 US gross. That's gross, not net. You have to pay a 5% royalty to Epic Games on anything you sell above that, which is completely fair because the engine, they've spent millions of dollars developing their engine, so you can't begrudge them wanting a bit of a cut of whatever you make. But if you're not making anything commercially, if you're only using it for your portfolio, then you don't have to pay for it at all. So, well, you don't pay for it anyway because it's free to download, but if you sell anything, that's only when you've got to pay. Let's pull one more down for the bottom windows here. Move it back. And again, actually, just before I do this column placement, I'm going to fix our window glass. Select a blueprint, double click the blueprint to sub-select an object in it. Make sure I turn off my angle snap again. Wait. And let's just move it back. Deselect it. Again, I'm just going to jump outside to make sure it's not going through our wall. That looks fine. Let's, pardon me, let's duplicate it one more time. Rotate it 90 degrees yet again. Make sure angle snap is turned back on. Then we'll move it back in. Let me pull it forward just a little bit, I think. Or not. No, it's probably not too bad. Okay, now I'm not quite sure whether I put a column here or not. I don't think I did. We'll look at that though a little bit later. So we have our columns in place. Let's jump back to the front here and grab one of our wall panels here and bring that forward as well. Let's start by doing a rotation of 180 degrees. I was wondering why why it looked like it was rotated around the wrong way. It's because I was looking at it from the back. Let's get into a position here where we can see what's going on a bit. There we go. Move it over. Push it back towards our wall. And we're going to have to non-uniformly scale it in a little bit. And now we're going to scale it back out again because this wall section's a bit bigger than the other one. And again, we're going to have to create a unique wall piece for the top and bottom of the window, but we can reuse that all the way around the building here. So we only got to create two and then we can just duplicate it again around the building. We do need paneling for this side of the wall as well. I really do like the effect of the physically based materials. I don't know if you can notice it in the stream here, but we're getting that nice reflection happening off the plaster at the top. Do bear in mind though, I haven't actually placed any reflection zones or spheres yet, so once they go in, we'll get proper reflection happening on all of our shiny polished surfaces. We'll leave that until we've finished placing the rest of our assets though. Now I'm going to duplicate this one over, but I know it's going to be too big, so I'll move the second one into place and that'll give us a good idea of how big we need or how small we need them to be. Just before I do that though, I will shrink it in a little bit in one axis. And then we can make small adjustments after the fact. So this one, I don't want it to go beyond that wall section at the top of the mezzanine here, which will leave a bit of a gap at the side, which we'll probably fill with some sort of wooden column probably. So I'm lining it up to the edge of the top of the wall up here. Okay. Now I'm going to select them both and scale, and they're going to scale out from each other, but that's okay. I'm doing it just so we keep the same size on both panels. Again, I'm going to move this one over so it touches just the edge of the other panel. Again, we'll select both and scale. Just come up a little bit more. And we'll copy those two over to the other side. And we'll scale them in, because this wall is obviously a bit smaller than the other side. But again, I'm looking to line it up with the top of the wall here, not the bottom. And again, we've just got to be careful we don't go scaling too much. We don't want to stretch this pattern too much. So long as it's not super stretched or squished, it should be okay. I mentioned that last week when we were working on the front of the building, placing these paneling, not to squish it or stretch it too much. But you can get away with it within reason. Options for if you couldn't get away with it are, of course, to create a separate panel in Max or your 3D program and bring that in so you're not stretching your pattern. Or as you saw in this case, we're using two. We could have tried maybe using one and stretching it out, but I think that really would have stretched the pattern out too much to use one panel as opposed to two. But if you are really worried about it, then just create a unique panel in your 3D program for whatever part of the model that you're trying to texture up is. But it's better if you can reuse your assets. It'll make your game run much more quickly, or whatever it is you're doing in the engine. Alright, let's... what do we do now? So we have the paneling done. Actually, let's look at the ceiling. Let's do that. Let's take these three panel pieces again. Again, I'm not sure if these are actually meant for the back or if I just created one for the back, but we'll take them and duplicate them and pull them back there and have a look. Now again, if you notice, if you look at the panel here, and I pull my camera back too far, you see that effect we're getting? That's that parallax map, which again is why I suggest you only use it for areas where the camera can't get too close to the texture, because otherwise you're going to get that really weird warping effect. That's just the way parallax mapping is. So long as the camera never gets up near it like that, then you should be fine. Alright, so this hallway looks like it's a little bit wider than the other one. Again, remember we're going to actually have paintings up here above the door and a separate paneling piece above the window, so any of these little gaps that you're seeing will be hidden by that. I just want to make sure that plaster work goes up to our wooden plaster panel here on the side of the wall as well. Again, just a reminder for you guys, we do have our own Phil Does 3D Twitch server now on the Twitch app. So if you wanted to join that server, let me know and I'll send you an invite link in chat and you can join the server. Don't feel that you have to though. It's purely as a convenience for you guys. It'll just make it easier for you if you want to post an image. You won't have to upload it to Imager and then post a link. You can post the image directly in on the Phil Does 3D server in the Twitch app for everyone to see. Also, if you are not a regular prior to the subscription thing happening on Twitch, you can't post links in normal Twitch chat. You have to be a subscriber to be able to do that now. My regulars prior to the subscription thing going live though, that I added to Nightbot, you can still post links, but only the guys that were regulars prior to the subscription going live. But if you're not a subscriber and you still want to post a link to show me your work, because that's why I'm on Twitch, you can still do that in the on the Phil Does 3D server in that general chat. You don't have to be a subscriber, you do have to be a follower. But you certainly don't have to be a subscriber to post a link. And I'm doing that because I want to be able to see the work that you guys are doing, because that's the whole reason I'm on Twitch. It's to encourage you to do 3D and to help you guys if I can. So yeah, I just wanted to make that clear. Now, it's just because of the subscriber thing. They have to have some added value to being a subscriber, so that's the reason you can't post a link in Twitch chat unless you're a regular prior to the subscription going live. I know it's all getting a bit complicated now with Twitch. Now let's bring in those wooden pieces that go across the top of the ceiling to separate the paneling pieces. And scale it up a bit, because again this hallway here is bigger than the one at the front. And I just want to make sure it's actually sitting in the middle of those two pieces of plaster ceiling. We may rotate it just a little bit as well. Let's just scale this one up a bit too. Okay. Let's duplicate this one again. Again, we'll scale this one up just a little bit more. Alright. Okay, I don't think there's anything else we need to do immediately here. So let's jump back into the front of the building and let's pull in pull in maybe one of those sconce lights, I think. I'm trying to remember how I actually had them positioned. I think I had one about near the stairwell here. Until I actually place the stairwell in, it's sort of like going to be guesswork as to how high up we want to place our light fitting. But we can certainly place it in there, and then we can move it after we get our stairs brought in. So I know I want one on that side, and I'm just trying to recall. Let's have a look. What do we got here? We've got 4 panels on this side. We have our stairs that come down at an angle like this. So probably around the middle of that wall for one of our wall sconces. And on this one it's a little bit more difficult because we only have 3 panels between the 2 doors. But I think the best thing to do as far as balance goes in this image will be to... We have the one sconce that's going to be in the middle of our wall panels here. Let me just get in front of that so we can angle it up properly. So we have a sconce light that'll be here. So we want another sconce light to probably be about here. And that's just so that they both line up on it with each other on each side. And that just creates a nice balance in the level. It makes it look more realistic. I mean, you don't have to. We could place it here. But having them line up with each other would probably be more realistic in if people had built this building. They're not going to stick one light here on a wall and the other light over here on the opposite wall. They're going to try and line them up. So we'll do the same thing. Let's find that light fitting, which is this one here. Let's just get into position where we can see this. Again, this color change you're seeing from the dark wooden panel to the same panel but looking a lot lighter is not only to do with the angle of the sun, which is over there. It's to do with the fog that's happening in the scene at the moment, because the fog needs to be turned back, knocked back a bit. We'll do that towards the end. Now let's pull our light fitting in. We'll wait for Unreal to redo the shader on that. There we go. Again, let's rotate it 180 degrees. Again, we're going to have to scale this up because when we made it, we scaled up the building from the original in max, so let's scale that up. We'll do it by eye, and we can always rescale it later on if it looks too big or too small. And again, we're probably going to have to make some adjustments to the actual height on the wall once we get our stairwell in. Just going to pull that back until that back panel just touches the back of the wall paneling. Again, we'll make sure it's just centered up properly here. I'm just pulling back to look at the size, see if it needs to be scaled up or down. And I think maybe up just a little bit. Well, they're a feature light. We want to make sure that they're noticeable, they're not hidden, they're not too small. Okay, let's duplicate that light. Oi, what are you doing? I did a paste and not a duplicate. Okay. There we go. And let's rotate it 180 degrees. And make sure we're lined up properly here as well. And that's not too bad. Okay, so now this light is only using an emissive material. It's not actually, it is emitting light because it's using an emissive shader. But we are actually going to place separate lights in the scene as well.